Right, well, hopefully this all films alright, because I'm trying this out with the action camera. Well, let's close the hammer first. So, this came today. Obviously, annoyingly, because of YouTube guidelines now, I can't tell you where I got this. But I got it from one of the sites in the UK that sells deactivated and obsolete guns. So this is an obsolete caliber musket. It's, completely live and working. But obviously, unless you're at a firing range or whatever, you can't legally shoot it. But what I thought I'd do is, give you a little overview of this, and because we've got a bit of first person, actually show you the sort of muzzle loading procedure and what they'd have done. Obviously without all the parts, because I'm not, legally able to shoot it or whatever, and don't have the parts to shoot it. But the coolest thing I can demonstrate, which I'm sure would be perfectly legal, is where that bit is there, and hopefully you can see that where I'm looking. That is obviously where you'd put the originally the percussion cap, because this is like the last era of muskets and rifles, like the type before you had cartridge guns, which were the ones where you'd use essentially what's very similar to a kid's cap. So that's what I want to demonstrate with that, because I'm sure with all the laws we have, there's nothing else in there, using a little kid's pyrotechnic to just demonstrate the hammer going down isn't going to be breaking any rules. But anyway, so there you go. There is the musket itself. So this was advertised as an Enfield Cadet's rifle, or musket, I think musket. Might have been rifle. I haven't actually checked the barrel to see if there's rifling. It looks pretty smoothbore. But it's from that period anyway. But again, this would have been only used for sort of training, because it's obviously much lighter and everything than a real sort of full-length, stupid-length musket that they had. So, how would a musket like this or an early rifle have been loaded? So you obviously, as you can see, have your rifle there. Now what you do is you pull out your ramrod from underneath, and first you'd put your powder in. So that would be normally black powder in this period. So you'd normally either have a little thing to measure it out from, or you'd have a paper cartridge you rip open and put it in. Some of the really advanced ones from this sort of period actually had very early paper cartridges where the black powder and the bullet, or the like mini ball or whatever, or the shot or whatever you were using were all in there ready. But what you do, put your powder in, then you'd ram that down using the ramrod, like so. Then what you'd do is you'd obviously next get your actual bullet. Sometimes there's a bit of wadding as well put between the bullet and the, bullet ball, whatever you want to call it, whatever we're using, if we're talking about a rifle or a, a musket, I said. Then you'd obviously ram that down. Then normally you'd have a little bit of paper that you put on top as well as wadding, just to keep everything nice and solid in. Then you'd obviously put your little ramrod back, and that normally just on most muskets and sort of early rifles sits underneath that. There you go, you've got that. Now, this is the interesting bit, hopefully. What you'd do is you would cock this bit back here. And I think you normally do it as a half cock to start with, although I don't think it matters too much when you've got it there. So as I said, we've got some kids' caps, so I'm just going to rip off a couple of these. And what we're going to do now we've got some kids' caps is we're going to, if you can see that there, pop these, if I can get them to sit properly there. It's going to be a bit of a job to scrunch them up, but essentially you would have that, if that can be seen there, sat there. And then when you shoot it, I'll just aim it at the wall just in case. That would obviously go off, there you go. And what would happen, that would ignite the powder inside the musket or rifle, and that would, propel the thing out with the powder, because obviously the main charge is the powder that would be all at the back here, not that. What that is doing there, that little cap, and again I'm going to have to clean this out now, that's the only problem with these, because I think a lot of the time they had like wax or, properly made ones, is that would essentially, just be to send a spark through there. So there you go. So the only safety you get on these sort of muskets is when they're half cocked, they don't shoot. You have to have it fully cocked for it to shoot. When it's half cocked, on most muskets and, flintlocks and things, they don't engage. That's your only safety. But if you want to let it off safely, or safely-ish, you have to be careful. You just have to ease that as you're holding the trigger. So there you go. It's got a very primitive sight on it. I don't know if that's going to be very visible on there, but there you go. That's how it would have worked. So, hope you found this interesting. This is a lovely old thing, because it's actually in, really nice wood condition. Looks like wooden brass. But yeah, just a nice little antique. But obviously, as I said, because I'm not out of range or anything, and I don't obviously have the ingredients to do it, so both legally and technically, I can't load this up with anything and demonstrate it. But, you know, these are nice, really cool old things, and yeah, because they are so old, you know, and again, I don't even know if this would be in a condition where you'd want to even attempt to shoot it. They are UK legal as long as you don't go around waving them, you know, around or try and manufacture ammo for them or whatever. So there you go.